Good morning, students. Till now, we discussed about atomic structure lesson, and if we finished the atomic structure lesson successfully. Even in the last class, I hope you revised all the topics related to atomic structure lesson. Now, today, let us discuss about our new topic, periodic classification of elements. Okay, a well-known and easy topic to you, because in the lower class also you have idea about periodic classification of elements, right? Nothing but a periodic table. Every one of us as a science student, particularly as a chemistry student, every one of us definitely know about periodic table. Okay, so nowadays we know we are following our modern periodic table. But before discussion about the modern periodic table, first let us discuss about what is the need of classification of these elements. Okay, as well as history about the classification of elements. Okay, then we will discuss about the modern periodic table. Right? Now, first of all, so we are saying it as a periodic classification of elements. So first, my question is, what is the need of classifying these elements? Okay, what is the use of classifying the elements? Why I am asking is, if you observe there are different types of classifications are there. So finally we are using this modern periodic table. I hope you already have idea about this. Okay. But why to classify the elements? Or what is the use of classifying the elements? Okay. First of all, right now generally we know there are around 114 known elements are present. And we know every element have some physical properties as well as some chemical properties. Okay, the behavior of one element is somewhere different from other elements, right? Maybe an element is having some similarities with the other elements, but the properties of one element is somewhere, either it in the mass. Generally we know about atomic number, the counting of number of electrons, protons wise, definitely they are different. But coming to the properties wise, coming to chemical behavior or physical behavior, if you observe, there may be similarities between the elements. But the elements of, the properties of one element is somewhere different from other element. Okay. So it is easy to study all the different 114 elements till the atomic number wise, if you see around up to 118. It is easy to study the properties of each and every element. It will be definitely a difficult task, right? So that is why to study the properties of the elements, properties nothing but both physical properties as well as chemical properties. In a organized, systematic manner, we need a classification of elements, right? Classification nothing but generally, normally what we will classify the elements, simply we can classify it as metals, non-metals, metalloids. Okay, that is also a way of classifying the elements. Okay, but coming to non-metals, there are many number of non-metals are there. Out of those non-metals, some are having similarity, some are having different type of properties, right? Even noble gases are there, metalloids are there. Even coming to the metals also, there are lot of metals are there. But out of the metals, the properties of some metals is different from properties of other metals, right? We know about sodium or potassium, if you observe, they will react fastly. Then what about gold or silver or platinum? They are also metals, but they don't react fast. Okay, so the chemical behavior of these metals is different from one from the others. Okay, but there are some similarity in their properties, right? So that is why whatever the known elements are there, all those elements are classified in a systematic manner. Means they are arranged in a systematic manner in a tabular form. That is known as a periodic table. Okay. So what is the use of periodic table to us? Because if you study the periodic table, means if you observe the periodic table, you already know that there will be some number of groups, some number of periods. Okay. If you observe a particular group, we all know about first group: lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. So if you observe that a particular group, we will come to know these three are having, or whatever the elements present in this group are having similar chemical properties. Okay. So if you know the behavior of this a particular element in this group, automatically we can guess the physical and the chemical properties of the remaining elements in the group. Okay. Right. So that is why we need to classify all the elements available in the nature, okay, into groups and periods. So in a systematic manner they are arranged in the tabular form, which is known as periodic table. Okay. Now, before discussing about our modern periodic table, let us discuss about the history of classification of elements. Okay. Because they started the classification of elements even from 1817 onwards. Okay. By that time even electron was not discovered. They don't know about electron, proton and the presence of neutron in the atom. They don't know anything about this, how bonding is taking place and all. But still, by observing the properties of the elements, they try to classify the elements. Okay. So in what way they classify them? Let us discuss. So first note down in the notes, we need to classify the elements to study them, properties of the elements in a organized manner. Okay. So that is the use of periodic classification of elements. Now coming to the history about this periodic classification of elements. The one who classified these elements first is Daubernius Trias. The first periodic classification of elements was given by Daubernius Trias. Daubernius is the name of the scientist. Here we need to focus on the term triad. We need to know what is meant by triad. Okay. Here a triad, we know this represents 3. We know that mono, 1, di, 2, tri, 3. Okay. So a triad means it is a group of 3 elements. Okay. So Daubernius classified the elements into triads. He given some number of triads. Whatever the known elements are by that time I am telling is he given the classification in around 1817. Okay. So that time whatever the elements were discovered, he tried to arrange those elements into triad. So what is meant by triad means? A triad is a group of 3 elements. So what type of 3 elements means? A group of 3 elements with similar properties. Okay, the elements having the similar properties he chosen. So those 3 elements he kept in a group and he named that group as triad. Okay. And coming to the speciality of this triad is He arranged the three elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses. Remember one point, as I mentioned earlier, by the time the electron was not discovered, right? So, if you observe the history of classification of elements, all these classifications are based on atomic weights of the elements. Okay? By the time they don't know about atomic number. So, all these classifications was based on atomic weights. Okay? So, these three elements are arranged in the increasing order of the atomic weights. Okay? In these triads, the three elements were arranged in increasing order of the atomic weights. Now, even there is one more specialty regarding this triad. You already know about this one. What is the specialty of this triad? Here, coming to that. The average of atomic weights of first and third element is approximately equal to atomic weight of middle element and second element in the triangle. Okay? The average of the atomic weights of first and the last element is approximately equal to the atomic weight of the middle element. Okay? So in that way, he arranged the elements in the triad. Okay? So a triad means a set of three elements having similar properties, physical and chemical properties. Now coming to the arrangement, he arranged the elements in increasing order of their atomic weights. As well as one more important note here. The average of the atomic weights of the first and third element in a triad is equals to the atomic weight of the middle element. Okay? Now let us discuss about whatever the examples for triads. Now if you observe the example for triads, the first example let us see, the first triad. Well-known example, lithium, sodium and potassium is a triad. So all these three are increased in the increasing order of their atomic weights. For example, if you observe this one, 7, 23 and 39 are the atomic weights of these three elements. Okay? Now, let us come to the third point. What is the third point? Let us check the average of the atomic mass of this first and third element. If you see 7 plus 39 average, so it is divided by 2. 39 plus 7, 46 by 2. So nothing but how much amount? Exactly 23, which is the atomic mass of sodium. Okay? So that is what the third point regarding the Doppler's triad. Okay? The average of the atomic masses of first and the last element is approximately equals to the atomic mass of the third element, so middle element. Okay? Now coming to the other examples or other triads if you observe, this is one triad. Lithium, sodium, potassium is one triad. Coming to the other triad, calcium, strontium, and then barium. Okay? The other triad is calcium, strontium, barium. Even the other triad, chlorine, bromine, as well as iodine, sulfur, selenium, and tellurium is also placed by Daubernet in a triad, as well as the metals like iron, cobalt, and nickel were also placed in a triad by Daubernet. Okay? So whatever the examples are given for triads, you try to remember, because once in the KSET examination they ask you which of the following will be act like a triad. Okay? So remember the examples for Daubernet's triads. Okay? So these are the main merits regarding Daubernet's triad. Then what about the drawbacks of Daubernet's triad? You all know it was a very old classification. So he can place whatever the known elements were there by that time. Out of that, some of the elements he placed in a triads. Okay? Because the elements should have similar properties. So he placed some elements in the triad. But after that, there were many number of elements were discovered. So all those elements are not arranged in the triads. Okay? Now after this Daubernet's triad, now coming to the next classification. Now, coming to the next type of classification, this is also one of the easiest classification, that is Newland's law of octaves. After Daubernet's classification, one of the next classification is Newland's law of octaves. Okay? Now coming to this Newland's law of octaves, so we need to know about this term. Why he mentioned as octaves. Okay? So before that, we know about the musical octave. What is the musical octave? Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. Okay? This is known as musical octave. Now if you observe this musical octave, so how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once observe the 8th rotation in the musical octave. If you observe that the 8th rotation is Sa and the first notation is also Sa. Okay? As like this musical octave, in the arrangement of this Newland's table also, the 8th element, okay? The 8th element from the first one is having similarity in the properties. Okay? He given a tabular form. Means he places some of the elements in a tabular form. In that particular table, the 8th element is having similarity in the properties with the first element as like the musical octave. Okay? So that is why this classification is known as Newland's law of octaves. Now let us discuss about the table given by Newland. Now coming to the table given by Newland, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. If you observe this arrangement, our first doubt is, sir, where is hydrogen? Because the first element is what? Hydrogen. Then we know till to the modern periodic table also the position of hydrogen is a drawback. Okay? He also didn't place hydrogen in the table. Next, fluorine. Now again one more doubt, sir, after hydrogen helium should be there. We know the noble gases were discovered in 19th century. So by that time the noble gases were not discovered. So that's why I started the table form with the lithium. Next, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, potassium and then calcium. Okay? So this is the arrangement given by Newland. Now let us check whatever the law he given, whether it is valid or not. Now from this element if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the 8th element. As we all know already that lithium and sodium are generally will be comes under alkali metals family. The properties of these elements, these two elements are similar. Okay? So that is what Newland's law of octave states. Okay? For example, let us now check from this element, carbon. So from the carbon if you count, so 8th element will be what? The 8th element is silicon. Okay? Even now in the modern periodic table also, what we are following nowadays, this carbon and silicon present in the same group. Okay? So the periodicity in the properties was given in this table. But why don't we follow this tabular form nowadays? Because of the main drawback. If you want to note down the drawback of this Newland's law of octaves in the notes. Note down the first drawback. I hope you already written the Newland's law of octaves. What is the law and what is the statement he given? First note down that one, then we will discuss the drawback. The 8th element in the table is having as similar properties like first element. Okay? So from whatever the element you start, the 8th element from that element is having similarity in the properties with the first element. That is what Newland's law of octave system. Then what about the drawback of this Newland's law? The main drawback, if you see, as we already discussed one drawback, what is that one? He cannot place hydrogen. Okay? Even coming to the first one is position of hydrogen. Now, second, the main drawback is even by the time many elements were discovered, the main drawback is to place the elements only up to calcium in the table. Okay? So in that particular table given by Newland, he placed only up to calcium. So after calcium means there are many elements having more atomic mass than calcium. But he failed to place those elements in the terminal form. Okay? Even there are many drawbacks like discovery of noble gases. If noble gases are discovered, then this eighth element, after fluorine, which element will come? Neon will come. So neon won't have similarity in properties with lithium. So this law won't be valid. Okay? That's why nowadays we are not following this one. Then let us discuss about the next type of classification. Now coming to the next classification, that is Lothar-Meyer's classification of elements. Okay? Very rare one. Okay. Why I am telling this rare means generally after Gabalier and Newland, generally we need to discuss mainly about Mendeleev. But coming to competitive exam point of view, we should know about this Lothar-Meyer curves also. Generally they are not asking about this one in the NEET level. Previously in the AIMS level, 1 or 2 times they asked about the Lothar-Meyer curves. Okay? But coming to this Lothar-Meyer classification of element, before the publishing of this Lothar-Meyer's classification of elements, Mendeleev's periodic classification was published. So that is why mainly the Mendeleev's classification was highlighted. Okay? But Lothar-Meyer's classification is also a valid one. Still, even though both the classifications are having drawbacks. Let us briefly discuss about Lothar-Meyer's classification of elements. First of all, this Lothar-Meyer classified the elements based on their mainly physical properties. Like, he drawn the graphs between density of the elements. Okay, means he taken the density of the elements in the solid state as well as we drawn the graph with the boiling points and with the melting points also versus atomic weight. Okay? We drawn the graphs between density versus atomic weight as well as melting, boiling points, like these physical properties of the elements he considered, and those values were drawn against the atomic weight. There he found some periodicity in the elements. Okay, so whatever the points he observed are from those curves. Regarding competitive exam point of view, we need to remember 3 points. Let us discuss this. Okay. Now, mainly out of these all type of graphs, we need to know mainly about the graph or the curves drawn by Lothar-Meyer. Between density versus atomic weight. Okay? The Lothar-Meyer curves are mainly obtained by drawing the graph between density versus atomic weights. Now, if you observe the curves, he got the curves like this. Like that. Okay. Now regarding these curves, the competitive exam, they don't ask us to draw the curve. Okay? But whatever the important points we need to know regarding these curves, let us discuss. Coming to the first point regarding these curves. Here, the peaks of these curves is occupied by the elements like lithium, sodium, potassium and rubidium. Okay? So coming to competitive exam point of view, the question you will get like in the Lothar-Meyer curves, which elements are occupied the top of the peak? Okay? So top of the curves or peak of the curves. Peak of the curves was occupied by lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium. Generally we call these elements as alkali metals. So remember that one. Okay, the lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, generally these will be called as alkali metals. So the peak of these curves was occupied by alkali metals. Okay. Now, the descending position of the curve. Descending position means from the peak of the curve and coming down. This descending position of the curves was occupied by second A group elements, nothing but alkaline earth metals like magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. Okay, so these alkaline earth metals, okay, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, these are known as alkaline earth metals. So what is the location of these alkaline earth metals in the Lothar-Meyer curves? Okay, is they occupied the descending portion of the curve. Alkaline earth metals occupied the descending portion of the curves. Okay, descending portion of the curves was occupied mainly by alkaline earth metals. Nothing but the second A group elements like magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium. Okay. Now, this was a previously asked question in the JEE examination. Right? So remember that point. Position of halogens. Halogens means what? We know fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine are known as halogens. The halogen family occupied this downward, we say it as a descending portion of the curve. This is known as ascending portion of the curve. Okay, so halogens occupied ascending portion of the curve. Okay, halogens occupied the ascending portion of the curve. Now coming to the last important note regarding this Lothar-Meyer curve is the location of these transition elements. Transition elements means we know the D block elements. All these we will discuss furtherly. The transition elements occupied at the bottom of the curve. is bottom of this curve. So these positions was occupied by most of the transition elements. Okay. So regarding Lothar-Meyer curve, we need to remember these 4 points. Along with the one of the important thing is between what he drawn the curves. Okay. He drawn the graph between density versus atomic weights. Then he found some type of curves where the peak of the curves was occupied by alkali metals, the descending portion of the curves was occupied by alkaline earth metals, and the ascending portion of the curves was occupied by halogens. The bottom of these curves was occupied by most of the transition elements. Okay, so this information is enough regarding the Lothar-Meyer's curves. This is mainly for competitive exam. Okay, so note down these points. Till now, we discussed about different types of the classifications given in the old days. Now, coming to one of the important classification of elements, which was given by Mendeleev. Okay, why I am telling it as an important classification of elements is because he is the one who first classified the elements in a periodic, okay, or even in a simple words, he is the one who given the first periodic table. Now please get the subheading answer. Mendeleev's periodic classification of elements. Mendeleev's periodic classification of elements. Very important one. Even though nowadays the tabular form given by Mendeleev we are not following, but still in the competitive examinations they are asking questions based on his periodic table. Okay? Why they are still asking questions based on that? Because it is having some importance. That is why they are asking questions in the examination, right? Because if they don't ask questions, we don't focus on the topic. Okay? But still, why to focus on this Mendeleev's classification? Because he is the one first who given the periodic classification of elements. Okay? So before discussing about this one, first we need to know about this word. What is meant by this periodic classification? Okay? Generally, in the physics, while doing practicals, generally in the physics lessons you will come to know about periodic motion of simple pendulum. Okay? Right? Simple pendulum motion you know. So from, for example, the pendulum started from this position. If you leave, again it may comes to this position. After that again it will become to this position and again it will. Right? Means what is this periodic motion? Nothing but, so from where it started, again it comes back to the same position during the motion. Right? Now what is meant by this periodic classification? How can we link this thing to our classification of elements? Okay. Here, periodic classification is nothing but, if you observe the arrangement of elements in the tabular form, the elements with similar properties will be reappeared after a regular interval of elements. Okay. So for example, from this element you started. So when you are going in this direction, the elements with the dissimilar properties. For example, if you observe lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon. So lithium is different from beryllium. The properties of boron is different from carbon. Nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Somewhere you will get the next element as sodium. The properties of this element is similar to the element which is already present in the table. Okay. So again, after some number of elements, we are getting another element, potassium or rubidium. Even after some elements, we are getting cesium. All these elements are having similarity in the properties. Okay. So that is why this type of classification is known as periodic classification. Nothing but the elements with similar properties. This is first starting point. You may change in this location. It may reach at this point. But again it comes back to the original position. So in the same way, the elements with the similar properties will be reappeared in the table. Okay? Such type of classification of elements is known as a periodic classification of elements. Okay? Now, coming to the periodic classification given by Mendeleev. Even he given a law which is known as Mendeleev's periodic law. First note down Mendeleev's periodic law. What is meant by Mendeleev's periodic law? Coming to that. According to this law, the properties of the element, nothing but physical properties and chemical properties. They don't think in a different way. According to this law, the properties of the elements, are periodic function of their atomic weights. Okay? The physical and the chemical properties of the elements are periodic function of their atomic weight. What it means? Whatever the element you take, if you observe the properties, physical or chemical properties of the elements, if you observe, they are mainly depends on atomic weight. Okay? How to understand this one is, according to him, as the atomic weight of an element changes, the properties of the elements also changes. Because this is also a good classification. So this classification is also based on atomic weights. Okay? I told you already in the starting also. All these previous classifications are mainly based on atomic weights. Okay? Now, coming to Mendeleev also, his classification is also based on atomic weights. So he thought that the properties of the elements mainly depends on the atomic weights. For example, if you observe carbon's atomic mass 12, nitrogen atomic mass 40. So as the atomic mass of the element is changed, the properties of elements also change. Correct or not? These two elements are having different atomic masses. So we can also think that the properties are depending on the atomic masses. Okay? But recently we discussed about one concept. What are these three? These three are known as isotopes. Then what about in the case of these isotopes? All these three are having different atomic masses. Can you say these three are having different properties? No. The properties of the isotopes are same. All the three are carbon atoms only. Okay? So nowadays we know that the properties are not completely depending on these atomic weights. But the classification according to Mendeleev is based on atomic weights. He thought that the physical and the chemical properties of the elements are periodic functional element are depending or are the changes along with the atomic weights. Okay? So note down the periodic law given by Mendeleev. Now coming to the construction of the periodic table given by Mendeleev, because he is the one who first given the periodic table. It is known as a short form of the periodic table, because by the time of Mendeleev only 63 elements were known. So all the known 63 elements he placed in this tabular form. Okay, so let us discuss the merits as well as demerits. Before that, let us simply discuss about the construction of the Mendeleev's periodic table. First of all, coming to his table, the horizontal rows the present in this tabular form are known as periods. Okay, he named the horizontal rows of the table as periods. And coming to the vertical columns in the table are named as groups. Okay? Coming to the periodic table of Mendeleev, the table is definitely it contains horizontal rows as well as vertical columns. The horizontal rows are known as periods and the vertical columns are known as groups. Okay? Now coming to the table form given by Mendeleev, why I am telling particularly as the table given by Mendeleev is there were many modifications was done to the Mendeleev's tabular form. So let us discuss about the table given by Mendeleev. Actually, this table contains 7 periods and 8 groups. Okay? Mendeleev's periodic table contains 7 periods and 8 groups. Okay? Means 7 horizontal rows and 8 vertical columns. We no need to by heart the whole tabular form. Don't worry about that one. Let us know the very important things we need to know regarding this table coming to competitive exam point of view. Now first of all, now coming to these groups, we need to remember 2 points. Coming to the first one, except the 8th group, the remaining groups means from 1 to 7, the remaining groups are subdivided into group A and group B. Okay? Except the 8th group, from 1 to 7, the 7 groups again subdivided into group A as well as group B. For example, if this is the first group, this is first group means again he divided this group into 2 subgroups A and B. Okay? Then what about this 8th group? This 8th group, nothing but the last group of this Mendeleev's periodic table. 8th group contains set of three transition elements. Okay, the last group of the Mendeleev's periodic table, if you observe, it will contain a triad or nothing but a set of three transition elements. So, in all the remaining groups, he placed one element in one group. But coming to this eighth group, he placed three elements at a time in these groups. Like if you observe the elements he placed, say in one eighth group, in one period he kept the elements like iron, cobalt, nickel he placed. In another one, he placed ruthenium, rhodium and palladium. Okay? Even osmium, iridium and platinum. So he has a set of three elements he placed in this eighth group. Why he placed it like that? There is no justification given by Mendeleev. Okay? Because coming to his classification, we say simply that Mendeleev's classification is based on atomic weights. But along with the atomic weights, he considered one more point, that is similarity in the properties. Okay? So because of that, there are some merits for Mendeleev's periodic table, as well as because of that point, we know there are some drawbacks also for Mendeleev's periodic table. So about those merits and the demerits of Mendeleev's classification, let us discuss in the next class. Okay? Thank you.